I am back with Tom Weyandt and Dr. Catherine Ross. And Tom, you had also pointed out earlier that, before we sat down to do this taping, that little cities, little towns like Duluth are also resurfacing with new and fresh ideas.
Well, there are exciting things happening all over, and I think what this process is about is really about creating choice for people. There are small communities, small towns all over the region that in some sense had been sort of overlooked or jumped over in our suburbanization process as we develop subdivisions in unincorporated parts of the region. Yet these small towns are areas that have good infrastructure in place. They may have,
which is key in many places.
Oh, absolutely. Very vital. They may have a nice town square, a city hall, but they really were overlooked in that development process. And yet now, communities are deciding that these are areas that are valuable. The infrastructure is there. It doesn't cost us much to improve it. They are walking environments, which gives us an option to using our car to go every place we go. There's opportunity to rejuvenate older buildings, create mixed uses, family gathering places, and those are happening in places like Smyrna, Duluth, and other communities around here, and it's a very exciting new choice that the region has, and I think that's what we're really about here, developing those choices.
And Vision 6 puts a lot of emphasis on transportation and land use. Transportation, land use, economic development, transportation are inextricably linked.
Right.
When you talk about impacting one, you automatically impact the other two. And so it makes sense to think about land use and its impact on transportation.
I think one of the interesting other aspects of this is that not only are we talking about potentially different kinds of development forms, but we're talking about ways to preserve open space.
Absolutely.
Which is another important value that this
High
region
on the
has.
priority list.
Yes.
Absolutely, and increasingly so, simply because we are becoming so dense and we're becoming so large.
Yes.
And when we get to 6 million people, that question of how we're going to have open space and recreational alternatives will only be more important to people.
Look specifically at transportation, though, because again, it plays. And right now, we have so many fragmented public transportation systems. They're not linked. They're not talking. At least right now. But you say that you're making progress.
Well, we believe so. I mean, one of the issues that this region has clearly identified already is the fact that we need to have an integrated transit system. We have a good, solid core system in the MARTA rail system, but we have this proliferation of bus systems all over the region. The challenge is, how do we make them at least work more effectively with each other? How do we
Well, up until now, they really preferred to stay to themselves in a lot of respects.
They did, but I think people are beginning to understand that that doesn't work anymore. You have to have multiple fare media to get from one system to another. The schedules may not be coordinated. The fares themselves may be different. And we probably are missing opportunities just for some economies in the management and operation of these. And I think that's going to be a big element of the next, of our vision.
And if you were a betting man, somehow, some way down the road, we would have a collective system.
I think it's inevitable.
We'll have to. And we have to have a system that's much more substantial. You know, Tom's reference in terms of the coordination, how much that'll do. But if you talk about doubling our population and we don't have increase our capacity to move people around in different ways, it will make the congestion that we have now pale in comparison. And so the question of technology and actually moving more of our trips to transit so it captures a larger market will be really important for us, because congestion is a challenge for us.
And you have a couple different audiences to appeal to. You have the person who could choose to drive their car, but you'd like them to take public transportation. Then you have the person who's reliant on public transportation, whether it's the elderly, and then you have handicap, and you need to be considerate of that.
Absolutely, and that's why we get back to the importance of envisioning what our land use and development pattern will be, because we can make conscious changes that will affect the transportation and our congestion problems, and again give us choices in how we choose to travel as well as how we choose to live. All
right, ideally, what happens now? Georgians can actually tap in and give you what they think would be a good idea for development in the future?
Well, we certainly hope so. We are holding a series of meetings with local officials around the region, with local planning staffs. As a matter of fact, people can access our website and access a survey there to give us feedback on what those choices will be.
And with that, I want to say thank you to both of you for being here. I appreciate your time, and keep up the good work.
Thank you, Susan.
Today on Atlanta and the Shape of Things to Come, we have just been able to touch on some things you should know about your community. There is so much more to talk about, and we will in future shows. This program is available in its entirety on the Atlanta Regional Commission's website at www.atlantaregional.com. We seek your input, ideas, and involvement, because the shape of Metro Atlanta's future will be what we all make it. For our families, businesses, and communities, let's keep making it the best place anyone would ever want to live. I'm Susan Hoffman. Thanks so much for joining us. See you next time as we explore Metro Atlanta and the shape of things to come.